fans, it is Kenny Mack, and it is before the Kansas City game. We still need to sort out the kicker. What are we going to do? So let's listen to our Dawgs podcast. Tell me what's up, boys. Let's kick this off.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Riniker, Justin Charles, John Nye, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to a live edition of the Dawgs podcast. Very special episode today. The last one in this current studio.
The last one in this studio.
Yeah, we've come a long way. Humble beginnings. We got something pretty cool that we threw together for you guys. We're going to play later in the episode during this live. So that's just a little bit of teaser of things to come. Thank you, everybody who's already in here, already in the chat, waiting for us. We appreciate you guys being here. We're going to talk about camp. We're going to talk about tomorrow's game, some roster stuff. As always, keep the chat going. We like talking about your comments. I'm going to try to kill this fly.
I know, if you see us swatting that thing.
Yeah. So if I manage to kill this fly during the episode, it's even better. While we're letting the chat fill up a little bit more, before we get into everything, remember to find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you prefer just listening to the podcast throughout the week, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. The fantasy leagues are officially full. We are divvying up the fantasy leagues, doing our fantasy drafts, as in picking what dog is going to be the commissioner of your league tonight. So we're divvying everybody up. Just to put things in perspective, the very first year we did a dog pack and we did fantasy, we had two 12-team leagues. Yep. There was two dogs in each league. Then last year, we had 4 10-team leagues, I believe. Yep. And this year, we have 5 10-team leagues. We had to recruit Kenny Mack to be a 5th commissioner for us.
Love it.
So this thing just keeps growing, and it's all because of you guys. So we appreciate everybody who's watching and supporting the show. Anybody who's joined the Dog Pack, obviously, we love you guys. We appreciate all the support you guys give us. We're super pumped to do fantasy football with you guys again this year. So if you're a Dog Pack member and you're listening to this, we're going to be live in the private Discord right after this doing the fantasy stuff. So make sure you guys tune into that too. We call dibs on your Tuesday night. So it's Tuesday, right?
But it's Friday.
Oh, it's Friday. We usually do episodes on Tuesdays, it's been a week, okay? So we call dibs on your Friday night. So we appreciate you guys hanging out, watching.
You said it with such confidence. I really had to think for a second. I'm like, I was darn sure it was not Tuesday.
I always speak. I could be like, grass is blue.
I got 3 more days of work. Are you kidding me?
So before we get dive super deep into some of the cool stuff we got planned, the big news of the week yesterday, Browns trade. First of all, they waive Kellen Mond. Do you think they called him in and they were like, Kellen Mond, you are waived? Not. God. I think that's probably how Andrew Berea did it. But no, so we got the news in the morning that Kellen Mond was being waived, and I think everybody kind of expected that. That wasn't. I think the big news was then who's going to be the 2, and then I personally thought Dawgs was going to be the 2, and then Stefanski confirmed it.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even necessarily based on performance, which might sound weird. I just thought the Browns would want the guy who had the experience, who had been in the building before, to kind of be that guy behind Deshaun, worst case scenario, he goes out. Did we want to hand the keys to a 5th-round rookie? So that was my thought process, and it seemed like the Browns were in line with that. They come out and they announced Dawgs as the 2, and then a couple hours later, I'm getting notifications that Dawgs is traded to the Cardinals for a 5th-round pick. So call me crazy, but Andrew Berea – we got Amari Cooper for a 5th. We got Zadarius Smith for 2 5ths. And then we got a 5th for a guy who's going to be 2 or 3 on the depth chart. We're like, this guy was never going to see the field in case and we got a 5th-round pick for him.
I know. It's crazy. And don't forget, we got Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman for a second.
And don't forget what Barry can do with a 5th-round pick.
No kidding, DeJuan Jones. I mean, I feel like as soon as the news came out that the Browns were waiving Mond, Arizona must have. This is what I'm assuming. Must have said, "Oh, we better go try to get Dobbs now before, because if he goes through waivers and gets claimed by some chance, and the Browns can't put him on the practice squad, we really have to keep Dobbs."
Yeah,
I feel like you know what I mean. So
yeah, it's kind of late to bring in a third quarterback.
Yes.
I'd have to look into this rule a little bit more too. Some people are saying it freed up a roster spot for another wide receiver. I'm pretty sure that your third quarterback this year, it's considered like an emergency quarterback.
Let me clarify that rule, if you guys.
Yeah, because I'm not even 100%. I just know of it.
On Monday's show, when I did the breakdown of the roster with Derek, I kind of screwed that rule up too. So it does count against your 53. So the emergency quarterback counts against. They have to be on your 53, but they don't count against your active day roster.
Okay.
So what's active day roster? 46. I think something like that. So you can essentially have 47.
Okay. And that guy just can't ever play unless both quarterbacks are hurt
at the same time. Correct. As soon as one of those other quarterbacks in front of him is cleared to go back on the field, the emergency quarterback has to come out.
Yep. So, so we'll have 3 quarterbacks at least. Nobody wants to see what happened to San Francisco.
No.
In the NFC Championship. That's exactly what that rule's there for. So then I guess this brings up the question, how obviously we loved what DTR did in the preseason. How confident, are you comfortable now? Obviously the Browns are comfortable. Like, say worst case scenario, Deshaun gets hurt and he's going to be out a month and a half. Like, what do you feel comfortable with DTR? Is he going to go out and get it done?
I think he's going to be okay. It's all about the system. We're not going to go ask DTR to go out there and create miracles. We got a system that's, he's similar to Deshaun. He has a similar skill set. Obviously, he's not on that level, but I think it's a system he can thrive in and a system he can at least be competent in.
To me, this just shows that management has all the confidence in the world in this kid. I mean, we're literally, like Blake said, we're an injury away from Deshaun Watson, from him coming in and playing meaningful time. So to me, it's crazy. Coach comes out and says, "Hey, Dobbs the number 2," and then literally hours later, we have a new number 2. To me, this is a front office thing. They're saying we have confidence in this kid. I think Coach probably will have confidence in this kid too, but it's kind of a risky move. I mean, you're sending a guy that was comfortable in our system, knew the team, knew a lot of the guys, but I just think it says a lot about DTR and what they think that he can accomplish.
I agree. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comment section, by the way, saying Mond's not going to make the 53. He's going to be practice squatted, and then you can suit him up each game day.
Okay, so I didn't see that part of the rule that you could use your practice squad guy as the emergency without counting it. I didn't see that. So
that
if that's true, then yeah.
That does free up that roster spot for Watkins, Diabati,
or maybe Hickman.
So I know we were only going to talk about this. Or Hickman or Bell, where are we at?
Wouldn't it be nice to keep both, huh?
Yeah.
I said I would lean D'Anthony Bell, not just because he's been on our show and everything like that, but because he's been in our system for a year, and he went out last year and proved that he can play at the NFL level. Hickman, he's looked good again in the preseason, but it was kind of the same thing with Bell last year. Like, he looks good in the preseason, but what can he do in a real NFL game? And he showed he can.
Yeah, I mean, it's because he's been on our show and I really like him. And I think
it plays a part. I'm not gonna lie.
And he showed he set the tone a couple times on special teams, kickoff team and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely a position to watch. And then obviously the Watkins and the Diabati. How do we say, is it Diabati?
I'm pretty sure it's Diabati.
I know, okay. I know his first name is.
We've been saying Muhammad. I guess I got corrected. They said it's Muhammad or Malmed or.
We'll just stick with Diabati.
We might still not have the right pronunciation.
Hey, if you want to hear butcher names, just wait till we do our draft later for the leagues.
Justin, you're getting some love on the jersey.
Well, I figured I'd just bring it out for today. It's got like hot dog stains and stuff all over it. It's a classic throwback,
Larry says Bell will make it to the practice squad. Hickman won't. I'm not 100% convinced Anthony Bell would clear waivers.
I mean, he started for us last year. I mean, he's more than a practice squad guy. He was on our active roster all year.
Yes.
I think that
we saw him.
Go ahead.
We saw him in the Steelers game down the stretch when they were driving. He was in on defense. So he, like you said, he's not strictly special teams. I think they like what he can do on the defensive side of the ball. D'Anthony Bell is a better tackler. I agree. And he forced turnovers last year. I know in actual NFL games. Again, and I'm not a Hickman hater. He played at Ohio State. I like the guy.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him do anything in an actual NFL game.
Right. All right. So, do we want to do the video special for everybody?
Yeah. So, you're going to do your...
Yeah. Before we do the video special for all you guys, if you're a Caesar Sportsbook user in Ohio, the Sportsbook is kicking off the NFL season with a new bet $50, get $250 in bonus bets. This is a limited time offer. New users can sign up with our code DAWGSGET, that's DAWGSGET, all one word, and you can redeem $250 in bonus bets after placing your first wager of $50 on any NFL game. And even if your first bet loses, you will receive one $50 bonus bet credit each week over the next 5 weeks. So make sure you enter our code DAWGSGET while signing up to have a bet on Caesars every week for the start of the season. That's code DAWGSGET. This offer is only available for new customers who are 21 and older and physically present in Ohio. Please gamble responsibly. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer to see if you qualify.
So before we jump into this, we'll kind of preface this a little bit for anybody who's new. We've added some people. Plus, I want to remember Brian Horiet's comment says, "Do we believe where we're going into the season with Cade York as the kicker?" So let's put a pin in that for after the video.
Sure. Okay.
Don't forget that. We're going to come back to that comment. Okay. So as we mentioned in the opening, which we've added some people here, we started this podcast. This is going to be our 4th Browns season covering the Browns. Calendar year, 3 years it's been, and we started all the way on the other side of this room.
we came a long way.
We've come all 12 feet to this side of the room.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a bittersweet moment for us to do this live in this studio for the last time. You guys, we put together like a little highlight reel, kind of us through the years for some of the people who've been here since. There's some people who've been here literally since like the very beginning, and we appreciate you guys. We thought it'd be cool for some of the newer listeners to kind of see where we came from. Like I said, over there, you'll see it. But I think it's a pretty cool video. So without further ado, enjoy. And welcome to the first episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Let's kick this thing off.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts Blake Reneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Once again, thanks for listening on this. Today, it's a podcast all about the Browns for fans. We're not experts. We're just, unfortunately, Browns fans. Through the highs and the lows. We kind of want to share our thoughts, opinions, passions with you guys. Thanks for joining us on this journey. As you can see, back in the studio, first time in 2 weeks. We're COVID-free, we think, we hope. So we got this brand new table brought to you by Josh. His handiwork, it looks great, so thanks for doing that.
To conclude the first ever 2020 Dawgs Podcast draft for offense, I need a guard, and I really need a left guard, but we don't have any left guards available.
Big thing that's happened since last week. Justin had another baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, yes, thank you. Just continuing a legacy of Cleveland fanship. Hopefully, maybe they'll see something exciting in their years.
Maybe they'll see a win in person one day.
I don't even know if that's how you say his name, but Floyd Womack. That's where I'm at. That's all I ask. If they end up being Baltimore or Steelers fans, they got to get out. They've got to go.
But just so you know, you're getting Floyd Womack, a.k.a. Pork Chop.
My thing is, if we're going to go with a secondary player here, I want Morg. I want Morg over Newsome. Yeah. If we're going receiver, Bateman, and if we go edge, there's plenty of good edge rushers out there. Aziz is out there. Mm-hmm. That's who the fans wanted.
Yeah.
In our Twitter poll, the scheme he was brought in to implement. And,
with the 26th pick, the Browns take Greg Newsome.
Greg Newsome. The one guy we didn't want.
All right, and your winner with 38% of the vote.
Close vote here.
The future quarterback Baker Mayfield.
Nice.
And the good thing about it is we don't have to learn from a loss. We can get better after a win. So, just the mindset of trying to be just a bunch of big, hairy American winning machines is important. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, then I don't do that.
Don't be an idiot. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
Man, Justin's going to watch this and he's going to be like, man, guys, what I miss out on. That was my Justin impression for you.
No, I'm going to pass out. So that's our wrap up of all the other teams' jerseys. Some winners, some losers. I'd like to talk about
Time out.
Oh, how long ago did that happen? As you can see, this is not Zach Kopp over here to my left today. We have newcomer John Nye. Zach is going to be a dog forever. He just has a very hard, unpredictable, busy schedule right now. And then we got one more left. That was weird.
Oh.
Man.
Whatever.
Well, what was I saying? Anyways, we got one more to go. Okay, I have Venmo. Buying them now. Tell me more, Daddy. Oh, I meant to send that to my boyfriend. Once purchased, I'd like to forward them to. Quite sure where he is. We haven't heard anything.
He's on the milk carton too.
Yeah, so hopefully he's all right, but
Oh, John,
where the hell have you been, man?
Oh my God, have you just been at the Powerhouse Gym for days and days on end? Holy crap,
We've been worried sick about you.
You don't want to know.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. You're saying that the Lions finish ahead of the Packers.
You're really buying into this.
Oh,
you believe this 100%,
I
right?
think this isn't, to me, this isn't even a hot take.
So
I think Minnesota wins the division. I think the Lions finish second. I think the Packers finish third. And I think the Bears below. I'd trade just about anything for Russell Wilson. And I threw this out here to these guys. I'd give up Myles Garrett and Odell for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
That's got to be nerve-wracking. I wouldn't be able to handle that. I'd be up at 8, and then I'd just be checking I'd be calling Verizon. Hey, I don't think my phone's working. I'd be panicking.
I just made sure I had it on ring. I'm like, let me make sure it's on ring. I wake up, make sure the volume up every time I wake up.
Yeah, that's what I'd have been losing my mind.
Just let us know. Is Blake nuts? Would you guys trade Garrett and Odell for Russell Wilson?
No. No. Silly guy.
Justin has spoken for you all.
Right. He's definitely a physical wide receiver, but he's not very quick. But he's going to be able to maybe get your separation right off the line of scrimmage, but he's not going to be able to outrun anybody.
I don't know, man. I just don't. I think Detroit's like 2 years away, bro. Like I think they're a slightly better situation. Jets.
He can throw. This guy can turn a 3-yard slant into a 30-yard completion. So I'm on the Amon-Ra St. Brown train. If you guys are,
I'm done.
It's a show by fans. We're not experts. Fans for fans, and I really appreciate everybody checking out the first episode.
I muted my mic. The big takeaway from that video for everybody is that we wanted Amon-Ra St. Brown over Anthony Schwartz.
We didn't want Newsome.
There's a couple. The first thing when you sent that to us and I watched it, the first thing I thought was we're gonna get cooked for the Greg Newsome lack of enthusiasm.
Yes.
Well, trust me, we 100% changed our tune. We were tired. We just wanted this flashy offensive guy.
We did.
And we just drafted this boring corner out of Northwestern, and it was just, we'd been at this brewery for 5 hours on YouTube, so please don't rip us too bad for that. Focus more on me being absolutely right about the Vikings and the Lions and the Packers and the Bears last year.
What are you going to bring? Russell Wilson, you were right.
Now, when listen, my Russell Wilson hot take, one, I would not make that trade. But two, Two, that was years ago when Russell was still playing.
He was still cooking.
He was still Russell was still cooking. This was not last year.
My favorite part is that he snuck that. Tell me I'm wrong.
I know. When are you going to bring back that sweet Jim Brown jersey?
I have it. It's around.
Just for everybody, like the parts where we're like busting up laughing, just losing our crap, that's after hours content right there. So we have a pretty good time on that show. I think anybody in the chat who's part of the dog pack can attest.
How many subs don't know Zach Kopp? Guys, I only am on this show because Zach left, and I still wish he was still on the show.
I think it's hilarious how that whole montage you said one thing.
And it was, you don't want to know.
That was the only words? The entire thing? Oh, man.
Man.
But we thought that was cool, kind of like Pat and I guess we were patting ourselves on the back. But we thought it'd be cool for you guys too, especially some of the people who've been here the whole time, kind of throw together like a little walk down memory lane. I think somebody called it a walk to remember, which made me chuckle. So once again, we never would have made it to this side of the room without you guys. So we appreciate everybody who's been watching. We can't wait to cover another Brown season for you guys from the brand new studio. It's so brand new that I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know. Like I've been working in there, building everything. So it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, so it's going to be super cool. So we can't wait for you guys to check out the new studio and to bring you guys episodes from the new studio. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we can continue to talk about current Browns to everybody who stuck around through that and watched us grow up. Thank you.
They said I got old.
I mean, if you kind of think about it, in this frame of that time, Justin had a kid.
Yeah.
I had a kid.
You got married and had a kid.
I got married and had a kid in that time frame. Like, a lot of crap's happened.
I got divorced.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Josh.
Nice.
So, a lot of stuff happened. Yeah. So, it's been a wild ride. And to be honest, you guys saw our very first intro. I never in a million years would have thought, fast forward 4 seasons later, we'd still be sitting here doing Browns content on YouTube. I definitely never thought we would do lives and people would actually be talking to us. We were pumped because we got 8 views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'd like to shout out this fake brick wall for being the most aesthetically pleasing thing on this show.
Yeah. Well, if you like this one, wait till you see the new studio.
Oh.
I'm
it's
excited. I was going to say something else.
It's even more, you got bricked up.
Zach morphed. No, I'm slowly morphing into Zach. Actually, is what's happening.
You just need one more working ear, and you'll be there. All right, so let's bring it back. Let's talk about some more Browns. I think I heard starters are going to play tomorrow. What, 20, 25 snaps, somewhere in there? All starters?
That's
what it sounds like.
My question.
I saw that the article that I read said that Deshaun and Miles, it'll be interesting if they, relegate their snaps. Because to me, I'm like, Myles Garrett's going to play. I'm like, get him out there for a series and I'm good. You know what I mean?
Tops. Same with Chubb.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the Chiefs? Are the Chiefs going to play any starters?
I thought I had a fantasy update about that.
To me, like that's what would make me, if the Chiefs, especially if the Chiefs offense, like is Mahomes going to play?
Yep.
Right.
Because if Mahomes is going to play, I want to see our starting 11 on defense go against Mahomes and see how we look.
Measuring stick.
Yeah, to me, like that's the bar. That's
yes,
who
it is.
That's who we're going to have to beat. If we get to where we want to go, they're going to be there more than likely. So I'd like to see how this defense stacks up against the best offense in the league. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for that. I hope Mahomes plays. I said we wanted to bookmark that comment. So before we get too far, do we think we're going into the season with Cade York as our kicker? Everything is saying yes.
Yeah.
Everything is the only way he's not our kicker week 1 is if somebody if he misses 3 kicks tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, if one of these other teams that's carrying more than one kicker right now, whoever loses the position battle on that team, if a good kicker gets cut, I could see the Browns possibly making a move. But everything everything so far coming out of the Browns has been he's our guy.
Yep.
Now everything yesterday was Dawgs is the number 2.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Very true.
and then 2 hours later he's an Arizona Cardinal.
Right.
So you got to take everything they say with a grain of salt. But I don't know. I feel like he's going to be here. I saw an interesting stat in our Discord. I think it was Pastor Rob told us last year he was only 3 field goals off the league average in terms of makes, and like so the way he put it is that's 9 points throughout the entire season. So he's saying people need to chill on like trying to cut him this fly.
I can't even focus on you right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, which I knew he wasn't like the worst kicker in the world last year, but I just knew that he wasn't as automatic as we would like him to be. But only 9 points throughout the year kind of puts it in perspective. I've been a guy preaching patience on Cade York. I just also think that if he loses games for us early, patience is going to be out the door very quickly. Like if we come out and we outplay the Steelers, or not outplay, but we battle them tough. You know, it's a gritty AFC North game in week 2, and we go down with a chance to, say we're down 1 or 2 or something like that. We get the ball last, and we get into field goal range, and we have a chance to beat the Steelers in week 2 of the season, and he shanks one. It's gonna be brutal for him.
It really is.
It's gonna be brutal. So it's one of those deals where I'm trying to be patient. He's just making it difficult to be patient.
I think like all signs for me just point to they said they weren't going to bring in competition. They didn't bring in competition. Even if it's been up and down for him, I think that this is Browns management saying this is our guy. This is our draft pick. We're going to let him. I mean, this is his second season. So it's not like this guy's like an old wily vet. I know he's only kicking, but I think as far as to me, it just says, hey, he's going to be on our team. Now, like you said, if he goes and he misses a bunch of kicks early, then I think maybe that becomes a conversation. But
that'd be a huge. Think about first game of last season. We won the game thanks to him.
Correct.
Yeah.
On a crazy kick.
This last preseason game, he literally was a kick away from us going, hey, this is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Hey, he just went 4 for 4. This is fine. But it was just 2 ugly misses back to back. One, and the fact that he missed opposite directions is just like, Jesus, what's going on? Like, what is really going on with mechanics or your head or whatever? But I do think that he has to figure it out at some point.
Like Pastor Rob's saying here, we need to cheer him and get behind him more than boo him. That's it's tough. But they like Kenny said, like they did in Philly. It's crazy what just like a little bit of just a little bit of encouragement can go a long way, especially for a young kid. So I completely agree. I want to see us get behind the kid. He said he had a better rookie season than Dawson, which was my point, a couple weeks ago in terms of I don't want to get rid of him too early because we've done that before. We've been looking for a kicker since Dawson.
Yeah.
And we've ran off a couple guys who went on to be pretty good, decent, but we chased them off early with our impatience. So I don't want to get this guy if he can figure out the accuracy. He's got a Justin Tucker-ish type leg. Yeah. Those don't come around every day. I'm not calling Justin Tucker's the GOAT. But in terms of just straight leg power, he's got like that kind of ability. Mm-hmm. He's just got to we just got to get him his mechanics. He's got to start putting him through the uprights. We had a comment here I wanted to just. Devontae Travis says, fellas, I began watching you guys last year looking for unbiased content about DW4 and the outlook for it. Since then, you guys have become a group of fellas I hope to watch and talk to. Respect. We always see your comments, man. We appreciate the kind words.
He's in the dog pack now playing fantasy with us this year.
And maybe I have him. Devontae, are you an Eagles guy too? There's somebody who told us he does Eagles stuff.
Oh, that's right.
And he just watches us because so I can't remember if it was him or somebody else. But either way, thank you for watching the show, man. We appreciate the kind words. And thanks for joining the dog pack. Pastor Rob says the number of guys in the league that can hit 60. It's not necessarily, I don't need him to be hitting 100% of field goals from 55, 60 yards. I need him to be really accurate from 40 to 50. 40 to 45.
And less, because we've seen him miss shorter ones.
Yeah, or extra points,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It is Devontae does the Eagles stuff.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully we get to do a Super Bowl preview with you this year.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
excellent.
That would be awesome. Was there anybody else? I'm going back through the comments. You guys,
While you
kinda,
do that,
yeah.
I did look it up. Andy Reid said that the ones will get a little bit of play, but then it'll be 2s and 3s mostly.
So
I just want to
season
see what it
starters.
looked. I just want to see. Basically, for me, it's not even how we handle Mahomes or anything like that. I just want to see is the intensity there. We've seen the intensity and kind of that nasty fight from the backups.
Yeah.
I want to see it from the starters against other starters.
That's my thing. Obviously, it's a preseason game,
Right.
Okay, but it would be cool if the Browns, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because I'm jacked up for this defense. Since we went up to camp and watched, I think the defense has a chance to be special. Like they have a chance to be very, very good. I would like to see them kind of come out in this game as a chance, like, okay, it's our ones on your ones, and we're going to kind of show the Browns. I feel like have been kind of crapped on a little bit. I mean, like Deshaun's a 78 on Madden. The one guy picked us to win 5 games this year. Like, even though we're voted as having a top 10 roster, so I would like to see them come out with a little bit of chip, like, hey, this ain't the same old Browns team. I know it's a preseason game, but this is Mahomes and the Chiefs. Let's take it to them a little bit, put the league on notice.
Not fast enough.
There's 5 of us at the table right now. Us 4 on the fly.
I will say I don't think that we're going to see Grant Delpit probably until week 1.
Yeah, because of the injury the other day in camp.
Collided. I can't remember the receiver he ran into.
Oh, it was that tail end. I just saw him the other day.
Trucked
Wayne
him.
or something.
Yeah, he trucked him.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
Was it
Jalen
incidental or what?
I think so. I think they just got
Man, William Jackson says Kevin Stefanski starts out 1-3. He'll be fired. I can see the Browns starting 1-3. I don't like Kevin Stefanski at all. William Jackson, completely entitled to your own opinion. And I'm not saying that Kevin Stefanski is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I do think he's the best coach we've had in a very, very long time. I think offensively he's very good. Maybe situationally he's got some things he needs to improve on. But this freaking fly. But you can't tell me he's a bad offensive coach when he got top 10 QBR seasons out of Jacoby Brissett and Baker Mayfield.
Top 10 in the league in efficiency, at least for most of the season, with second string quarterback.
He won head coach of the year in 2020, went to the playoffs, won a playoff game against the Steelers, battled the Chiefs in the divisional game. Probably should have won that game, honestly.
Yeah, if we get a helmet-to-helmet call.
With that was with a healthy Baker Mayfield and that roster. Mm-hmm. So what can he do with a healthy and up to speed Deshaun Watson and this roster?
I agree.
I'm going to actually agree that Stefanski does things I wouldn't do. But I'm not a head coach. I wouldn't be qualified to be like a middle school coach. So I'd rather kick field goals and go for it on 4th down sometimes, depending on the situation. He does some things that I don't like, but he is the best coach we've had since the year 2000, really. And it's not like there's like a million coaches of the year just lining up to coach. Like, they're not out there. It's a very rare commodity.
So for just to tack on to what you said, we literally spent the last 20-something years looking for this guy.
Yeah.
So, like, to your point, you said it's not like there's just another guy. We've already done this a bunch of times. If AB's on board with what he sees in Stefanski and he likes what he's doing, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't. But I mean, if it starts off rough and you start hearing the locker room noise, all of that stuff, then
yeah. But if we lose 3 close games in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, you really think we're going to fire him?
I don't. But we haven't shown that we do that.
No.
We literally held on to coaches last year that were not able to perform their duties as coaches, and we let them ride all year, even though it was embarrassing. And
we knew what the problem was.
Yeah, we would sit here and go, so is it miscommunication? And then you have players literally coming out and just basically saying it without saying names. So for me, I just think that they're just very even keel. If it ends badly, like if we're under 500, I think he for sure we're looking for somebody new.
So Fatal Gnome still says 15-2, number 1 AFC seed, Super Bowl versus the Eagles. There we go. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought when you started talking about that.
I don't know something about Kevin.
I don't think it can be understated the addition of Schwartz.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's gonna take so much off of the plate of Kevin Stefanski, and I know people are like, well, he's the head coach. He should be able to handle that kind of stuff. He's still a relatively young head coach. He's a first-time head coach. And like Sean McVay, when he's a first-time head coach, who was his defensive coordinator? Wade Phillips.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Had head coaching experience, a guy who could take a lot of the burden off of him. A lot of times these first-time young head coaches, their defensive coordinators are guys with head coaching experience, who've been around the league for a long time and can just kind of say, Coach, you don't got to worry about this side of the ball.
This is all me.
This is on me. I got this. And he can come to him for advice in terms of like situations, all kinds of stuff like that. Plus, I've talked about this before. I think I like Stefanski, and I think it was I forget who we were talking to that said Stefanski, like in the locker room stuff, he likes to joke and he's more laid back and stuff. We don't ever really get to see that side of Stefanski. He's always very buttoned up and tactical. But I think Schwartz is kind of, I would almost consider him like a player's coach. Like he's fiery. Yeah. He's in there with the guys, you know. I think like that can help gel a locker room. So I don't think it can be understated the importance of hiring Jim Schwartz this year.
Totally agree.
Yep. Absolutely.
So bet it now, Miles, defensive player of the year. On this show, we're all big Miles fans, but at the same time, we've also been critical at times of when he can take plays off, or it seems like he'll take a quarter off. But I think he's never had the help, and I think that could be discouraging at times in your career where you're beating your guy every time, and you're forcing a guy into the pocket, and he's just stepping up into a perfect clean practice pocket. So I think for the first time in his career, he's got some running mates that are going to help him. I think he could get to 20 sacks this year. I think I feel like I would put money on him now to be defensive player of the year. I just feel like this is going to be the year where it all clicks.
He had 16 last year, tied for second in the league.
Playing next to Tommy Togiai
and Jordan Elliott.
I
mean, guys, I do think, I understand. I've been making some posts on Twitter about this. I understand the skepticism. I understand being jaded and having these past scars and wounds and things. But my gosh, the things the Browns have done, they've never done this before. They've never put this kind of roster together before. They've never had this coaching staff.
No, it's the most. Bubba Ventrone was a hot candidate for special teams.
Top 5 special teams units, the last 3 years in Indy? I think he had them. Yeah.
Schwartz is super respected around the league. He's got a Super Bowl to his name as a defensive coordinator. In talent wise, I don't think the talent can be understated on the team. Find me the hole. Maybe kicker.
Right.
Maybe linebacker, but we think we found a diamond in the rough in Diabate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's almost no weaknesses on this Browns team. It's basically going to be coaching this year, and it's going to be Deshaun. It's on Deshaun. I think he's got a ton of pressure on him to perform this year.
I agree.
I think he's the kind of guy who shrugs off pressure because it's just the personality type.
I feel like you could argue he was under a ton of pressure to perform whenever his defense in Houston was garbage. And what did he do?
Yeah.
He just performed.
Or at Clemson.
Yeah.
He just stepped up every year and just.
And the thing is, with this team, he doesn't have to put the team on his back and go out there and do anything spectacularly amazing just to get us close to winning a game. He just needs to be good.
I will agree with that. I think the defense is going to be. I want to say it's going to be beyond what our expectations are, but I think that our expectations are pretty high at this table.
They should be, as they should be.
Once we went up and saw them, and I was like, we're doing 2-minute drills, and these guys are screaming at each other, and coach is having to come out and chill people out, and they don't care anyway what he had to say about it. I don't know. I think, like Blake said, we live and die through Watson. The defense is good enough, though, that he doesn't have to be that guy in 2020. If we get that guy, oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
We need him to be that guy, though, because that's what he's being paid for.
That's fair.
You know
that's
what I mean?
Very, very
so,
fair.
So, I've seen this a lot on Twitter and stuff where it's been, if we can just get, if if Deshaun can just play pretty good with this defense and this talent, the Browns will win a lot of games. Well, then we could have just kept Baker or Jacoby. You know what I mean? Like we gave you $230 million guaranteed. You got to come out, and Dabo called him the Michael Jordan of. You got to come out and be the Michael Jordan of football. We gave you. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be what takes us from. The goal isn't to win 10 games. You know what I mean? The goal is to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. So if we want to win the Super Bowl, we got to have a guy who can go toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. I'll throw Lamar's name in there. He wins 85% of his games.
I think Tua probably is going to be in there. If he can stay healthy, that team is going to be very good.
Yeah. The AFC's loaded.
Wild.
Godly Warrior says talent isn't everything. Bills were the most talented team last year, and look how they look. I understand your point. I totally agree. Talent's not everything. I would also argue that the Bills weren't the most talented team last year. I argued in their own division, I thought the Dolphins were more talented.
Oh, and you had your quarterback suffer an elbow injury partway through the season. He was never really right after that.
Got a little turnover-ish, I don't know if that was the right word there, but
he says, I think y'all's weakness is like the Chargers. It's coaching. I think Kevin Stefanski's better than Brandon Staley.
Oh, big time. Well, that's why Brandon Staley doesn't call plays. That's why they brought in Kellen Moore.
I guess just to defend his argument, we've seen play calling that we go, what the hell was that?
For sure.
You know what I mean? But I wouldn't say as bad as Staley.
Team, I think.
Staley is like when the pressure is ratcheted all the way up and you can't have any mistakes, let's make the biggest mistake we can. I feel like that. I mean, and he's kind of proven that. Like
he makes some decisions. The Browns bailed him out 2 years ago, and one of Baker's best games is a Brown. They went for it on fourth down from their own 23 or something like that, and got it, and ended up going down and scoring. If he doesn't get that, and he loses he might have been fired 2 years ago.
Right.
He just does dumb. I am the biggest downer on Brandon Staley. Like, maybe he's a great guy, but I think he's just terrible head football coach.
Okay.
Like, it's not even that the Chargers roster stacked.
I do agree with that. They have a very nice.
They didn't even make the playoffs last year. You have Justin Herbert on a rookie contract with Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, all these guys, and he didn't even make the playoffs. It's wild.
So I was going to say, do we have more stuff we want to talk about for tomorrow? Do we want to kind of recap some of the stuff we saw at camp? We've got about 15 minutes until we got to jump over to Discord.
Talk about what?
Camp. Last week.
We saw football players. No, just checking. We kind of talked about it a little bit. The defense looks crazy.
Yeah.
The first thing we should mention is we went up to camp. We got kind of like cool access because we were up there with Stump. And then we finally got to meet D'Anthony Bell, like in person.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. Like, we got to shoot the crap with him, talk for a couple minutes. He stopped after practice on his way in. So that was awesome.
What about like Emerson? We're talking to him. We're like, man, like, is the defense going to be for real, like nasty as it looks? And he's like, it's for real.
Yeah.
It's very special.
That's from Martin Emerson himself. He's like, I don't think people know how good we're going to. And he wasn't like being cocky.
No.
He was like
being
just being sincere. Like, we were just like talking to him, and he was just being sincere. Like, no, for real.
We're
like,
good.
I think this is going to, like, you could tell he like believed.
Yeah.
It wasn't fake. He was like, no, for real. We're going to be really good.
Another thing, talking to players, when Shelby Harris came by at the end of practice, and we just said, hey, great to have you in Cleveland. We were thrilled that you're here. I mean, he sincerely was like, hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Like, happy to be here. Like, he sincerely looked happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like many, top-level players could say
$5 million will do that. I know if Blake gave me $5 million right now, I'd be very excited to be sitting here with you guys. Very excited. No, I get what you're saying, brother. I agree.
Kevin Scanlon says Stefanski's good at scripting those early plays, but our offense seemed to struggle beyond the script. That needs to change. I completely agree in terms of I think Stefanski's a great coach. I don't think he's perfect situationally, like you said with the script. Part of that, though, is with your scripted plays. He had Baker and Jacoby. So everything had to be perfect. If we lost yardage or had a penalty on first down and we get behind the sticks, there's not a lot of plays in your playbook for 1st and 20, or you know what I mean? So like, and then when you're playing with a backup quarterback, essentially, it gets even tougher. So I want to see him get better situationally. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him take the points sometimes. because you know what I mean. Like that kind of. Part of me wants him to take the points, and part of me loves it when he goes for it. It's just if he goes for it and we get it, everybody says he's great and he's gutsy, riverboat Ron, all that kind of stuff. And then when we don't get it, it's he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
I'll say this though, as far as if we get in the lead, I'd like to see them not take the foot off the pedal. Yeah, I've seen them so many times. It's second quarter winding down, we're up, and we come out after half and we're just flat, bland. And they come back and make things interesting, and usually we miss a kick or something like that, or they score. So for me, if we're that good on offense, let's run it up, like for real. Be aggressive.
For me, like if you just think about the quarterbacks that he's had, so Baker and Brissett, like Jacoby was very efficient as like the first read kind of thing. Like he'd get the ball where it's supposed to be. He was very good at it, very good at trusting his players and trusting his eyes and doing what he was supposed to do. He just wasn't a big playmaker if a play broke down or something went wrong. It was kind of like he didn't do anything to really hurt you, but he couldn't play make his way out of it. It was just live to die another down or play another down. With Baker, he sucked on his first read. He wasn't efficient. He was happy feet, always skittish in the pocket, but he was a little bit more on the playmaker side where if he got out and moving away from, chaos, he could make a play happen. I feel like Deshaun is the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I don't think it can be undersold how important his legs are going to be.
Yeah, sure.
We saw it in that preseason game. Whenever he got hit in the backfield and he stayed up, he just took off, picked up a first down.
How many times have the Browns been? It's like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and we play great defense, and the quarterback scrambles for 9 for a first down. It's just backbreaking. Can't get off the field. We finally have the quarterback who can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's going to extend so many drives. He's going to extend so many drives with his legs, keep us on the field, which gives you the more plays you can run, the better chance you have to score. Obviously, I feel like I'm being a little bit like Booger McFarland. If you score more points, you win. But if you're on the field more, the greater your chances are to score more points. So I think going back to camp. One of my biggest takeaways from camp was I'm watching and I'm like, man, the defense looks nasty. They're taking it to the offense. Our defense is going to be crazy. And then at the end of the day, you're like, well, the defense looked great. Deshaun still had 5 touchdown passes. Right. You know what I mean? Like he still was dotting up Amari Cooper down the sideline. And I mean,
that's another thing. We heard all that garbage about Deshaun being unimpressive passing the ball in camp. And then when we go up there and it's like, he looks good. Like these are some very nice passes out in front of the receiver. And
I'm not making excuses or anything, but let's talk about the defenses that he has to face this preseason. He went against Philly, who, to me, I think it's them and San Francisco last year as far as defenses being elite, no holes, and they got better. And then you have to play, Myles Garrett every day. We have to play our defense when you're not playing other teams. So maybe it's just he's going against elite talent. And from what it sounds like, they're going full go in these joint practices and stuff like that. So,
Godly Warrior says if Deshaun is still playing bad, would you all think the rookie that we drafted should play or just stick with him to the end? 1, don't speak that into existence. 2, you're stuck with him. Yeah, it's guaranteed. There's no out.
Just like the Broncos with Russ.
And I don't think any other teams are going to come bail Cleveland out because everybody is pissed about that contract. No one is coming to pick that contract up. I can promise you that. So he's got to play well for us.
In theory, if you hit on DTR, that is your out for if Deshaun isn't Deshaun.
Yeah,
because then you're not. You have two, you have another legitimate. It's like the Brock Purdy, Trey Lance situation. Not necessarily in money, but they gave up all those picks and stuff, and they got Trey Lance, and then he can't play, and they're lucky they hit on Purdy, so it's saving everybody's jobs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We have this crazy, super expensive quarterback on the roster right now. If for some reason, we don't think so, but if for some reason he can't play, and we think we have this super cheap 5th round guy who's on the roster, then we can still keep our talent. Because we're not paying him any money.
Or it could be like an Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love thing where Deshaun does play really well, but, by the time his contract's over, he's 32, and the Browns are like, you know what, DTR looks like the future right now, and then we just let Deshaun sign with another team or whatever.
That feels like the plan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from our perspective, from a fan's perspective, it feels that way.
I think the plan was this kid, we have confidence that he could be the legitimate backup to Deshaun Watson while he's here. If he develops into more, awesome. But at the very least, he can be our QB2. Well, he's already achieved that.
Correct. Yeah.
I think Deshaun is still relatively young, right?
Yeah, he's 27.
27. So at the end of this contract, 4 years from now, so he'll be 31. I think if Deshaun gets back to the level we think he can be, I think he's got at least one more contract in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But then, DTR is still young. So even if Deshaun plays 6 or 7 years in Cleveland, then DTR comes in. Isn't he like 22 or something? 20. He's young.
Yeah, he's young, probably 23-ish.
So he'd come, like you said, it's Jordan Love. He'd come in, step in. So that's got to be the goal.
Yeah, Kevin Scanlon said he's not worried about Deshaun at all. I was, right before he said that, I was actually going to say, on my short list of concerns for the season, Deshaun's not on that list. I'm actually more traumatized by our poor run defense from last season than I am by Deshaun's play, because Deshaun's play last year, I've detailed it 100,000 times. I can understand why it was like that. Our run defense last year, oh my gosh.
I'm not even worried about last year.
No, to argue, I'm way more worried about Deshaun than I am our run defense.
Are you? Yeah.
Because we added a lot more good players that we know can play against the run. Deshaun is still, we haven't done it. He's still just Deshaun. The last I saw him play, it wasn't very good. So until I see him play very good, there's always going to be a slight bit of worry. I'm not saying I'm panicked, but I want to see it. It's a question mark still, in my opinion. I don't think you can just come out and say Deshaun Watson's a top 10, top 5 quarterback. Right
absolutely not. I've been on record on that.
I don't think you can say that.
Yeah.
Because what do we have to base that on?
And everybody will be like, what did he, like, look at all the things that he did in those 6 games and overcome. I get that. But also he put himself in that situation. This wasn't like he sprained his ankle and he was out for 11 games. And I'm not, it is what it is. That happened. But based on what I saw last year, I've said it. I don't think you can just go, he's an automatic top 10. That's
Devontae Travis says DW4 will be fine. As someone who's watched him since Clemson, he will shock the world. If Mike Vick can come in a live game after 2 years and build his career back up, then DW4 is going to be okay. I completely agree. I'm not saying I have strong doubts and think he's going to suck. I just think until we see it on the field, we have to go based on what we last watched. So I can't call him top 5, top 10 right now.
Trey Lance just got traded
to the Cowboys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Woo!
Interesting.
So he got traded there to be the backup.
Yeah.
Yep.
He definitely got traded there because, they just paid Dak a crap ton of money.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the details of Dak's contract, what their outs are on that, but I feel like he just signed that extension, 2 years ago?
I think so.
Huh. Interesting.
That's a move.
Interesting.
That's a
move. I could look it up real quick.
I said it looks for a 4th mid round.
So let's talk about this real quick. We got about 6 minutes left, okay? And I know this is Browns, but this is big news and everybody's talking about it in the chat.
Yeah.
So is the move to trade 3 first-round draft picks to move up to get Trey Lance, is it the worst draft pick / trade move in NFL history?
I don't know about in NFL history, but for as far as recently in my life, that one stands out a lot. Because for years it was, we're one piece away. All we need to do is just get the quarterback that can take us the next step. They obviously made their mind up. Jimmy G wasn't that guy. They'd go way up, 3 first-round picks to jump to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just big miss. Huge miss.
Yeah. So
and maybe it's just them. Shame on both sides.
That's what I feel like it was, because you go all the way up there to take him, the project quarterback. He was touted coming out as a project quarterback.
Correct.
This guy, you're going to have to sculpt and mold and be patient with him. So they redshirt him essentially his rookie season, saying, "Well, Jimmy G's our starter. We'll see what happens next year." So he played 2 games. I think he started 2 games when Jimmy G was hurt, maybe his rookie year or something.
And then was named the starter.
And then the second year, he was named the starter. He entered the season as a starter. And now all of a sudden, a year later, he was the 3rd string. So I'm not really sure what is going on. But if I was a 49ers fan, I wouldn't be very happy with all that draft capital.
Oh, for sure. It's a huge. That's a team that is loaded, and has all the pieces in play right now to make it to the Super Bowl, possibly win a Super Bowl, and your GM traded away 3 basically starters.
The potential out for Dallas is next year after this season.
Yeah, so Dak's crapping the bed a little bit. He better hope Trey Lance can't play like I think he can. I'm not saying Trey Lance is the worst draft pick ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he is the biggest bust ever.
It's just a miss.
I'm saying the move to give up 3 first-round draft picks for him and then to trade him for a 4th 2 years later is that's got to be like the worst move ever.
It's got to be up there.
And like Nate said, the next 10 picks after him, stud after stud. They could have drafted Justin Fields. Could you imagine Justin Fields on that team?
Now, to be fair, Justin Fields did not look very good as a rookie. But then last year, when the team finally decided we're going to change our offense to feature what he's good at, hey, look who looks really good on the field now, Justin Fields.
And I just think, like I heard a lot of 49ers fans are mad with the mismanagement of Trey Lance because they're like, he was going to be your starter last year. John Lynch came out and said, we think he's done really well. He's even better than he was last year. And it's like, well, if he's better than he was last year, and last year he was going to be your starter, then how can he possibly be the number 3 on your team this year? What tells me then is he's not better than he was last year. He's just trying to get as much. He knew he was going to trade him.
I think what blows my mind the most out of this whole situation is that Sam Darnold's better than him, and Sam Darnold, we've seen him enough on the football field over the last 5 years that he's not that great. So, yeah, San Francisco, this is gonna be such an interesting football season. I cannot wait.
Yeah, we're what? How many days?
It was
away?
not that long.
How long,
That was like
man?
16 or 17.
Yeah,
at some point
10th,
this week,
right?
but it's been a rough.
Yeah, I can't freaking wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on that hour mark. I kind of, we got a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in the dog pack, go to Discord because we're going to be technology pending, of course, but we're going to be over there live streaming our fantasy drafts.
Better get ready, Pastor Rob. Better get ready, baby.
So, well, we're going to wrap this up. Again, we appreciate everybody watching. You guys are awesome. Every time we do one of these lives, they're always awesome.
Yeah,
you guys always have the comment section going crazy. We essentially came into this tonight like, let's just kind of talk about things because we knew you guys would have us the chat going. We could just kind of feed off the energy you guys are bringing. So we really appreciate you guys watching, making this another successful live. Again, if you've been watching it with us since the beginning, thank you so much. Bittersweet moment. The last time I'm going to close an episode in this studio. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the montage. If you really enjoyed it when we post this as an episode, you can watch it as many times as you'd like.
I'll clip out the montage and put it on YouTube separately.
Very funny.
It'll be pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Hey, Sophia says hi.
That's your
daughter.
wife.
Yeah. Hello.
Tell her I said hi
That's
also.
my little baby.
That's so sweet.
It is very sweet.
And my
I love
wife.
that.
Hello, Kiva.
Hi, Kiva. It's been a while.
So we're going to wrap this thing up. Again, we appreciate you guys watching, supporting the show. Like Josh said, if you're in the dog pack, make sure you jump over to the Discord. We're going to go live in there in about a minute and a half, do up these fantasy drafts. Doesn't matter, says y'all are the best. No, you guys are the best. No, you're the best. So we can't wait for the season. Hopefully we get out of tomorrow's game injury free. Hopefully the starters look good. We can't wait. About 16 days till real life football. Make sure you guys check us out next week. We're going to do another live on the roster cut down day.
Yep.
And then in that dead week between the last preseason game and the first game, we're going to do like a hot take, big prediction for the Browns and the NFL. Those are always fun episodes. So if you got hot takes for the season and you want us to talk about them on the episode, make sure you send us voicemails at go to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop down menu. You can leave us your bold takes for not just the Browns but the entire NFL season. So if you got some cool hot takes you want us to get into, you got about a week or so to get those in, and we'll bring those up on the episode. So once again, thank you guys so much for spending your Friday night with us, and we'll see you guys Tuesday night.